All right, welcome to today's YouTube video. So we're going to be going over Trojan Horse marketing. Now, I'm actually not going to be doing much work for this video. I'm just going to show you the live webinar recording of the Trojan Horse marketing webinar we did about 4 months ago. Now, if you're not familiar with Trojan Horse marketing, or you didn't watch that webinar 4 months ago, basically Trojan Horse marketing is a legendary lead generation tactic that we use within our agency that we've been using for years to be able to fill the pipeline, sign clients. We've probably made over $500,000 just with Trojan Horse marketing the last few years of using it, and I highly recommend you check this thing out because it's a great way to sign ideal clients. This was a live webinar in the past, so there's some feedback from different people that have seen this. Joseph, 16-year-old kid who actually signed a client 6 days after watching the webinar. So it's real, actual good shit, to say the least. You probably have never seen this anywhere else. Like I said, I've spent almost $100,000 on courses. Haven't found anything like this anywhere, so it's very unique. Again, I hope you enjoyed the recording, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And the reason why we're posting this is because the video that we have on our YouTube channel, it's called the #1 Agency Lead Generation Strategy, Trojan Horse Marketing. It used to link to a webinar recording. The webinar recording is no longer live, so I just figured I'll post it on the YouTube. Anyways, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's a great tactic to sign ideal clients. Hope you enjoy. Ciao. All right, and it looks like we're actually rolling. Welcome to this webinar. This is the Trojan Horse Marketing webinar. My name is Taylor Bentrud, and before we get started, let me just make sure that my audio is working. All right, well, it looks good, but you should see a chat box in the bottom right corner. Put some ones in the chat box if you can hear me and my audio sounds good. Cool, John, Casey, Majid, hopefully I pronounced your name right, Howard. All right, yeah, it looks like there's tons of ones pouring in, which is good. If you do have a problem, just put something in the chat. Let me know because it should be working. And by the way, it's a chat. Like, I'll be able to see your messages. You won't be able to see like everybody's messages, but I'll be able to see all the messages coming in. But it looks like we got almost 100 people, which is good, and it doesn't look like there's tons of people joining in anymore. So let's get this rolling. Without further ado, welcome everybody to the Trojan Horse Marketing webinar. Now, I wanted to start this off by basically going over 3 really extremely important things before going into this webinar. One, everything you'll be learning on this webinar isn't in a single one of these courses. So, all these courses here, which I've personally purchased over the last 3 years in running my agency, I've spent nearly $100,000 on courses, and I've done that because I'm super interested in marketing and how I can get more new clients for my agency and building a lead gen system. But everything you're learning in this webinar won't be in a single one of these courses. I'm very transparent with where I've invested and who I've learned from, but I've learned a lot from my own experience and my own trial and error. And what I'm going to be teaching you, like I said, not in any of these courses. And 2, I've done this webinar once in the past before, and people have signed clients from watching this free webinar. So pay attention. This is Josef Newton. He's a real person. You can actually message him on Facebook if you don't believe me. That's why I put his profile there. He's 16 years old, signed one client worth $1,000 per month from doing Trojan Horse marketing literally just 6 days after watching this webinar when I did it the first time quite a while ago. And so moving forward.
Hey guys,
all right.
I'm doing this testimonial for Taylor.
And that's just a video. There's a video, but I'm not going to bore you to death and play all the videos. So these are a few more testimonials, people who've actually seen the webinar before. Lloyd said, Trojan Horse Marketing webinar, truly amazing, dead on. Taylor shows you transparently how to apply it to your business. Jennifer, THN webinar was awesome because it gave detailed info, numbers, processes, how-tos, and that's really what I'm going to cover. Like, I'm serious. This is not a theoretical webinar. I'm giving you how-tos. I'm going to show you and reveal everything on how to do this strategy that made me a ton of money, over $300,000 from just 4 months of using it. And Alex also said his method is pretty unique and amazing, very personalized, seems like a method that could work with a lot of different agencies and businesses. So no matter what your agency is, I know that this method is going to be universally applicable to you, no matter what your service and your offer is, if you're looking to get clients. And let's see if I can play this without the videos.
Hi, my name is Lloyd, and the Trojan.
All right, so yeah, I didn't mean to play all those videos, but yeah, those are actual videos, testimonials from the people. And yeah, if you don't think they're real, because I know that there's services where you can like pay for testimonials, I put their names so you can message them. on Facebook if you really want to verify it. But number 3, I'm teaching you a real strategy, like I said earlier, and I've proven it's a real strategy that I've proven in my own agency that has made me over $300,000 from contacting literally just 254 companies in the first 4 months. It's no hypothetical bullshit. It's pure value. This whole webinar is going to be how-to, and I'm going to show you I'm going to break down this screenshot right here, how I sent 254 horses, got 24 calls booked, signed 8 clients in a matter of 4 months. The call booking rate was 10%, which is unheard of for an outbound lead gen strategy that is cold. But I'm going to show you how to get that 10% call booking rate and close at 33%. We actually won't be talking about sales and close rates and sales scripts, but I'm going to show you how to get the calls booked so that you can close the clients in this webinar, just like I'm showing you in this screenshot here. And it literally doubled our agency sales. This was years ago when we were doing about 20K a month, and it doubled our sales to 40K per month. And we've perfected this strategy since, but this is just the first 4 months of using it years ago when we started it. And so, we got a lot to cover. Let's get to work. So here's what we're going to cover in this webinar. Who the hell am I? Understanding Trojan Horse Marketing, the THM calculator, DNA of an ideal prospect, building a Trojan Horse, crafting your 1.0 first contact message, pattern disrupting with combo hits, tracking, and then we're going to go over what we covered again as a recap. So without further ado, let's talk about who am I? Now, who am I and why the hell am I doing this webinar for you instead of growing my own damn agency? That's a really good question, and I would probably be asking this question if I was watching this webinar myself. I really want to tell you about who I am because I think a lot of people teach too soon. Let me just explain to you what I mean by this. Some random dude starts a social media marketing agency. He starts making 6K per month, which is pretty good. And then he launches a course teaching other people how to start a digital agency, and he forgets about his agency and just focuses on selling courses. All right. So for me, I never wanted to teach people until I actually started making around $100,000 per month in my own companies, my own agency. And then I realized I really didn't like what my agency was doing and how I was helping people. And so let me just give you the past 3 years in about 60 seconds. I worked as a laborer in construction for my dad's insulation company about 3 years ago. And then on the side, I launched Better AMS. So that's my agency. You can still Google it. We still have the agency to this day. And I launched it when I was about 19 years old, a few years ago. And, I hit about 10K per month in 3 months. That's a photo of me. I quit my job in construction. Thank God. That was amazing. And I was going all in. That's the room that I was raised in. And that's after about 3 months when I hit 10K per month. And then after a year of running my agency, we scaled up really quick. I actually left Edmonton, Alberta, which is my home city in Canada. And I moved to Panama City, Latin America, where the taxes are a lot better and the weather is also a lot better. And that's my first apartment that I moved into. I now have a different apartment. But then I started speaking around the world. Agency started doing about $40,000 per month at this time when I started speaking. Then I found my soulmate. She's amazing. She allows me to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, which not many girlfriends would probably do. And then I co-founded a second company and scaled it from 0 to 60K per month in 4 months with a unique lead gen system while running the agency. And then I moved into this penthouse. That's my house right there, the little arrow. That's where we live. That's where I live, and that's what it looks like inside with the photo below it. And then everything started falling apart. It was actually pretty crazy what happened. This is a photo of me when I was making about $100,000 per month between my agency and the second venture that I launched with my partner, and I felt really empty inside. I actually started to hate what I was doing in both my agency and the other venture that I launched with my partner. And you might be wondering, why? You're making a lot of money, things are going great, company's scaling out of control. Well, I really wasn't that excited about waking up to make rich people richer. That's pretty much how you would put it. My advertising agency, Better AMS, and the second venture I launched helped 7 to 8 figure companies on Amazon make more money with their advertising. And the second venture I co-founded was doing the exact same thing. I was running 2 companies that were helping rich people get richer, and we were really good at it. It's not like a scam. It's a very ethical service. We've been around for years. We would literally help companies increase their sales from $10,000 to $100,000 per month plus. And we were really, really good and consistent at doing that. But I didn't like it. So I decided nearly overnight I was going to leave both companies forever. And I sold my half of the second venture to my partner, literally as it was in the middle of blowing up and scaling out of control. In our 4th month, just pure infancy, I decided to sell it right as we hit 60K per month. I just sold it, and now he's doing close to $100,000 per month. So bless him, he's amazing. He's taken that company where it should be, and hopefully he'll get to like 250,000 within the next year. But that company has scaled phenomenally without me. And then I told my team in our agency that they can manage it and grow it if they want to. Otherwise, I was going to sell my agency because I really wanted to completely transition. Fortunately, my team decided they wanted to grow it, and the agency has now been growing without me, which is phenomenal. It's a very difficult thing to do, is to build an agency that can grow by itself without you actually working in it. That's the ultimate goal for most people, is a business that grows without them and takes care of itself. Well, then, once I removed myself from my 2 companies, I spent 2 painful months sitting on my ass trying to figure out, what the hell I was going to do with my life. And then I found it, I really figured it out. That's when I decided I was going to help other 5 to 6 figure agency owners rapidly scale using the same lead gen systems and automation systems that I used in my agency and in the second venture that went from 0 to 60K per month in 4 months. So I decided to launch Leadgen Enlightened, which is why I'm actually doing this webinar. And again, I wanted to tell you a bit about my past because, as I said before, I think a lot of people teach too soon. I'm not one of those people. In telling you my background, I wanted you to make sure that that the things I'm teaching in this webinar comes from real experience, having grown multiple real businesses to a total of $100,000 per month. And it's just real experience. It's not coming from like 5K per month agency. So with all that being said, let's actually get started. We got a lot to cover. And this is an important note. Everything you're about to see moving forward is real training that's actually inside Leadgen Enlightened. So people have paid me thousands upon thousands of dollars for it. I've charged over $5,000 for the same information that I'm giving you. So get your freaking pen and paper ready because, yeah, it's really damn important. And there's people who've actually signed clients from just watching this webinar because it's not any hypothetical crap. And I'm showing you exactly everything you need to do. So let's get started. Understanding Trojan Horse marketing. And real quick, before I dive in, let me just make sure my audio is still working. If you can put some ones in the chat, that would be amazing. All right, cool. Cool. So we got some ones flooding in. Awesome. Thank you. And let's keep rolling. So value. The best lead gen systems in the world are not created by masters of persuasion. They are created by engineers of value. And Trojan Horse Marketing, THM, focuses 100% on engineering value. What do I mean by this? Well, let me tell you about the THM strategy in a nutshell. So Trojan Horse Marketing in a nutshell. Number 1, build a list of ideal prospects that you'd like to work with, preferably a list of thousands of prospects. Number 2, figure out a very common problem all of these ideal prospects are making. Number 3, send an email or a message with a customized evergreen value video explaining the mistakes that they're making and how much it's costing them. And number 4, blast this freaking email or message to as many contacts in the company as possible. So that is the strategy in a nutshell. And this is what it looked like when I was beta testing the strategy years ago. If you look at the dates on when these messages were sent, this was sent in 2017, the 3rd month of 2017. That was years ago. And that's, what I was doing then was I was kind of just beta testing this strategy of telling people, hey, I got your competitors are taking money from you, and I want to send you this video of the mistakes that you're making and provide some value. And I actually sent about 50 of these messages and signed 2 clients, one worth $2K per month, the other one worth $3,000 per month. And I was like, whoa, this really, really works. And so I went from beta testing, like a scrappy, you can see there's no real template here. I was just sending messages everywhere without a template. And then I created the modern Trojan Horse video, and I actually built a legendary system, and that's how Trojan Horse marketing evolved into what it is today, and that's how I came up with the name, because it's kind of like a Trojan Horse strategy. So let me give you an example of what a Trojan Horse marketing video looks like, because this video is the heart of the strategy that I'm going to be teaching you in this webinar. It's really the thing that without this video that gets sent to the prospects, it would not perform anywhere near as it does with a 10% call booking rate. You wouldn't even come close to a 10% call booking rate if you weren't to send this video. So let me show you what this video actually looks like. Let's get out of the slides here. And I got it open here, ready to go. So I'm just gonna turn my mic and turn up my computer so you can hear what this video sounds like. Now keep in mind, this is the exact video that I sent to prospects. in my agency, and I would send them these videos in an email, over Facebook, over LinkedIn, and they would watch the video and then they would decide to book a call with me. So pay attention, and I'm just gonna play like the first 5 seconds. The video is only like 2 minutes long, but just so you can get a feel for what it looks like.
Hey, my name's Taylor. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I made you this short video because I saw you guys were making a few mistakes in your advertising on Amazon that's costing you guys over $100,000 per year in lost sales.
Cool. So, I mean, that's what it is. The first 10 seconds is like, hey, my name is XYZ, Taylor. I saw you guys were making a few mistakes on Amazon. It's costing you over $100,000 per year in lost sales. Blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much what the intro looks like. And as you keep going through the video, I just walk through the mistakes that they're making, and the whole video is about 2 minutes, 45 seconds long. Very short video. They can book a call in the top right corner. If you click that button, it takes them to a call booking page where they can schedule a call. And at the very end, there's also a call to action where it just says, hey, click here to book a call. Because we'll go through the script in the video, but moving on. This was just kind of like a teaser so you could understand how important that video is. It's just a customized, personalized video. Now, results from 4 months of running the system. I ran the system for about 4 months, contacted 254 companies. This is years ago, and booked 24 calls, signed 8 clients, and the call booking rate from that initial like sample test was 9.45%, close rate 33%, and we doubled our agency sales from 20K to 40K literally in about 4 months. And we actually blew up our agency. It was nuts. We had to hire account executives. I went through an extreme amount of pain dealing with being burnt out and overwhelmed and at maximum capacity, but that's another story. So the results were phenomenal, and this is from the beginning. So now it's a lot better because the strategy is so much better. It's so much more perfected. We've really figured out how to like fine tune and dial this thing in to get it even higher. But I just wanted to show the initial results because it's more than achievable even when you're just starting out. So moving forward, I'm not the only one with results. Again, Leadgen Enlightened is not a new program. I launched it months ago, or like quite a while ago, and longer than months ago. And there's a lot of 5 to 6 figure agencies in the program now who've gotten results. And you can see Vadim, this guy who posted a screenshot of his calendar after using some of the strategies in Leadgen Enlightened, literally has 6 sales calls, qualified sales calls booked for the week after just using this system for like 10 days. And that was nuts. He was like posting, man, it's never ending, the calls coming in, which is a phenomenal feeling. I mean, it's an amazing feeling when you just have like a full calendar with qualified sales calls. That's really, it's one of the best feelings in the world. Oliver English, the bottom left corner, that dude, super noob, signed a client, 1.5K. Howard Lee, he mentioned that, got at least 10K per month worth of contracts waiting to be signed. And he hasn't even really gotten started with Leadgen Enlightened. He's just been doing very minimal amounts running the Leadgen system and like minimal efforts, which is amazing. And so, here's where things became a problem. I saw that from beta testing, sending these personalized customized videos, that it worked really well. But it was extremely time consuming. It sucked doing it. It was very monotonous, time consuming, and exhausting for me to do. To make these videos every day and send 5 to 10 videos every day. It was just a pain in the ass, even though it doubled our agency sales and made us a ridiculous amount of money, now close to up to over $500,000. And yeah, that's when I did some seriously ninja shit to make this Leadgen system ridiculously scalable. So pay attention. I made the customized value video evergreen, and meaning that I would only have to record the video once, and then I could send that recording to any company, and the company would still believe that I personally made that video just for them, as if it was a customized video. All right? Now, how did I do it? Well, I already showed you it. So let's take a closer look at that video that I showed you earlier. And let's just watch maybe 5 seconds of that video here. Let's just reload this. And let's watch like 5 seconds from here.
Shoppers are searching with.
Let me turn my mic so you can hear it real quick. And we'll just watch about 5 seconds of this and see if you can figure out how this is like not personalized and customized, because it is. This video you're watching, I'm going to play 5 seconds. It's a pre-recorded video.
Your brand name, and you can see like basically a good percentage of your customers are clicking on this ad, purchasing your competitors' products instead of yours. Now there's hundreds and sometimes thousands.
So you might be thinking, what's going on? How is this not a personalized video? It looks really personalized. Well, that's the point. That's why it's so ninja. But here's how it's done. See that little video in the bottom right corner, this thing with my face? That is pre-recorded, okay? This is a pre-recorded video with a script, the bottom right corner video. However, this screen in the background that you see with the mouse that's moving, and it looks like it's connected to this video, but these are two totally separate videos. This in the background gets recorded by a virtual assistant in the Philippines, and all she does is she opens up the tabs, she presses play on the video of me talking, she listens to me talking, and she makes the mouse movements congruent with the words that I'm saying. So as I say, like, now look at this, blah, 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 and she moves the mouse to be congruent with my words, so that if you watch this video, it looks like a customized video because the mouse moves with my words and it's all congruent. Like, what I'm talking about is what's being shown on the screen. However, it's just a scripted video and a virtual assistant does the mouse movements. And then she puts these two videos together using a software like Camtasia, and boom, now we have an epic Trojan Horse marketing video. And this is revolutionary because a virtual assistant can do this, and that's very difficult to come up with a very personalized, scalable lead gen system that a virtual assistant for $3 to $5 per hour can do. All right, so hopefully you just had like an aha mind explosion, because that's what happened to me when I created this. Let me just make sure that everybody can still hear me and my audio is working. I like doing occasional checks. If you can, put some ones in the box. And if you're on your mobile phone, you may not see the chat box, but if you're on your desktop, you'll definitely see it. Cool. All right, yeah. And it looks like Majid, I don't know I forget how to pronounce your name. Audio isn't really working for you. It looks like everybody else's audio is working, so we should be good, but I'm just going to keep moving forward because pretty much 99% of people's audio, you might be on your mobile. If you're on your mobile, you should be on desktop, but that's fine. We'll keep moving forward. So hopefully you just had an aha moment when you saw that. And now, let's talk about this video. The most important part in this video, this Trojan Horse marketing video, is the painful value that you give. All right? Now, you got to ask yourself this question. You're offering a service. You're likely not doing the same thing that my agency is doing. You might be offering SEO, web design, PPC. You might even be helping people lose weight and do something that's not even really related to the internet. But you got to ask yourself, what's the most painful and valuable insights that you can give a prospect? All right, about their personal life, about their company, about whatever. Like, what's the most painful value that you can give? And so for me in our agency, this is fairly easy for us because I've been running my agency for years, and I know that one of the most painful things our clients hate to see and hate to hear is that there's competitors running ads on their brand name keywords. So when you search like this particular brand name Care Touch into Amazon, you're gonna see that like they're not running this big headline ad. That's where the second arrow is. And this is like the number one thing that I talk about in my Trojan Horse marketing videos. I say, look, you got competitors stealing sales from you, and this is probably costing you between $50,000 to even $100,000 per year in lost sales. That's not the exact metric. I think it's actually less than that. But the point is that it's a very painful yet valuable thing for a prospect to hear. And it really positions you as the authoritative figure. It gives social proof. It has authority bias, association bias, social proof. There's tons of different biases in there, and it really makes them think, wow, this person, I appreciate them making this video for me because now I want to fix this. This is crazy. I didn't realize, like, how is this happening? This shouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. It causes a lot of pain, and it really agitates their heart and agitates their brains, and they can't even really sleep at night unless they fix this problem. That's when you know you got a really good Trojan Horse marketing video, when it's so good that if somebody watches it, they're like freaking out. They're contacting people in their company. They're like, we have to fix this. This is ridiculous. Why is this mistake here? Blah, 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 right? So that is the most important part of the video. The more painful and valuable it is, the higher your call booking rate is going to be. Now let's get into the THM calculator. So to do this, we need to get out of the slides. And this is the THM calculator. THM, again, stands for Trojan Horse Marketing. And this is like a calculator that you can use. If you want to sign 3 or 5 clients in the next 30 days, all you do is you put in your target number of clients for the next 30 days. Let's say you want to sign at least 3 clients in the next 30 days. All right, when you put that in, you're going to notice the numbers below here change. So I'll do that one more time. It's just a bunch of simple formulas. And so if we want to sign 3 clients in the next 30 days, and let's say today's date, I don't know, let's just randomly say today's date is like April 2020, the 2nd, doesn't matter. You can put in whatever date. And sales conversion rate, let's say your sales conversion rate is about 33% close rate on the phone. That means if you have a 33% close rate on the phone, and you should put in your average close rate. Let's say maybe you don't close this high. Let's say you close 1 in every 4 phone calls. Honestly, most agencies owners I speak to that don't really have a lead gen system, they close like 80 or 90% of their calls just because they don't have that many calls. But let's just say it's 25%. All right, so if you want to sign 3 clients in the next 30 days, you need to get 14 sales calls. In order for you to get 14 sales calls, assuming you have a 9.45% call booking rate, that means you'll need to contact 183 companies, okay? And that means that if you want to contact 183 companies, you need to send 8.3 videos per day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for the next 30 days. And that's actually not that bad when you break it down. This seems like a big number, but this is achievable, right? You just got to break it down into chunks. 8 videos a day, especially when you're not even doing it, when a virtual assistant is doing it. Dude, a virtual assistant, I can tell you this right now, they can send 10, 20 videos per day easy. So yeah, this system's extremely scalable when you have a VA doing it. These are some KPIs, and you don't need to change these. These are the typical KPIs. You should have about a 50% close rate. That's a standard I shoot for in our agency. Honestly, my close rate is probably closer to 70 or 80% because we use a sales method that it's called audit-based selling. It's another module in Leadgen Enlighten, but we won't be covering that in this webinar. Here's the average minutes per task. So to find a prospect, an ideal prospect, in our agency usually takes about 6 minutes. To make one lead gen video for a virtual assistant takes about 15, and to contact the company takes about 3 minutes. So all in, you're looking at about 24 minutes per video, and it's really, like I said, it's really not that bad. But this is with an experienced virtual assistant, or you yourself if you're experienced in running the system. In the beginning, it might take you like an hour and a half per video if you've never done this system before. But moving on, that's the calculator. It's extremely important for calculating, just exactly how much work is required to achieve the result that you want to achieve, and it breaks it down automatically for you. And then let's talk about the DNA of an ideal prospect, because I've been saying these 2 words quite a bit since we started this webinar: ideal prospect, and how do you actually define an ideal prospect? Well, to do that, we need to go into the DNA of an ideal prospect sheet, which is right here in this Google Sheet. So step number 1 of defining your ideal prospect is very simple. You need to start by defining the kinds of company or people or prospects that you absolutely do not want to work with. You completely must avoid these people. All right, and you should likely know who these people are. For us in our agency, we need to completely avoid companies making less than $500,000 a year. We need to completely avoid companies which all their top selling products are less than $15 because typically they don't have enough profit margin, and blah, 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 blah. You get the gist of it. Your agency likely isn't the same as mine, so this isn't going to apply to your agency unless you're doing the exact same thing. But you need to clearly define what is like a terrible prospect that you should never work with. And then number 2 is, once you've done that, then it'll be easier for you to define the kinds of companies and prospects or people that you really do want to work with. And there's a little bit of a typo there, which is fine. And for us, we want to work with companies making over $1 million per year, ideally over $5 million per year, and they sell products over $15, blah, 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 blah. These are our specific traits that we're looking for, and I actually only listed like 8 of them. There's way more, but for the purpose of this video and this sheet, I don't need to list them all. And once you've got that defined, then now you've kind of got your ideal prospect defined, right? This is your ideal prospect. Again, you need specifics. You can't just say like an e-commerce company making over $1 million a year. That's not specific enough. You need to be very specific. I could make a whole nother video on selecting a niche. That's not the purpose of this video. I'm assuming you've already got a decent niche selected. But if you're defining your ideal prospect and you're just saying like, e-commerce companies making over $1 million a year, or e-commerce companies spending $10,000 per month on Facebook ads, you're pretty much targeting the entire world, and you're not going to have good results. You need to really define it clearly, and you can see how defined mine is, and this isn't even all of the definitions that we have. In doing this, you get very clear on who you're going after, and you start to bring in a ton of clients because your lead gen system's like a sniper rifle. It's very precise. And then third is, what tools could you use that could help you quickly find all the good or bad attributes of a prospect. So essentially, what tool would you use that can help you find thousands or hundreds of prospects very quickly? So for us in our agency, like I said, I keep resorting back to this because it's the only agency that I have. I mean, we work with Amazon sellers doing 7 or 8 figures, and so there's this tool called Jungle Scout that we use. And it's a phenomenal tool. It allows us to filter by all the specific requirements that we're looking for, and we can instantly find thousands of ideal prospects that we want to work with. Now, for you, you're going to have to go out and do some Google searching to find a software or a tool that'll allow you to find tons of prospects based on the definitions that you input here. Okay, and this is the key. This is really helpful. If you really want to scale this system, you'll likely need, once manually finding people is pretty difficult. In some niches, in some agencies, you can just do manual, but most niches, if you really want to scale this system beyond what most lead gen systems are even capable of, you're going to need a software for the prospecting to speed that process up for your team. And that is how you define an ideal prospect using this sheet. And let's go back into the slides. Let's talk about building a Trojan horse. All right, so you're probably wondering, how the hell do you build one of these things? And that's a really good question. So how do you do that? Well, we need to go back into the sheet. I like to keep my life and everything extremely organized. So let's come back here. And we have the setup and building a Trojan horse. So this is the setup. Now, open up the Google Doc below, duplicate it, and write your own value video script. So the first step is you need to write your value video script, which is actually right here. So the instructions, step 1, the words highlighted in yellow simply shows the words of the script that you'll need to change and then make them fit. Yeah, so let me actually just skip this. What this sheet is, the first step to building a Trojan horse video is you need to write the script, right? So in this video, all the words that I'm saying, I'm actually reading a script, right? Like it's a perfectly done video because I'm reading off a script, but it sounds very organic. Again, the tonality is very key here. You can't just read a script and sound like a robot, or else everybody will know that you're reading a script. But I read off of the script, and I made my face, look like I wasn't reading a script, and my tonality was good. But first you need to build the script. So this is the exact script that I used in this video, literally word for word. It's the same script I've used when I sent 254 of these Trojan Horse videos. If you're in the same niche as me doing the exact same thing, you could probably copy this and get similar results. But it might not work out because we've contacted a lot of companies. You would likely have to change the script somewhat. So it starts out by saying this: hey, my name is Taylor, it's a pleasure to meet you. And the words in yellow are words that you'll have to change. The words in white, you can leave these words alone because they're just, they're pretty universal. You don't need to touch them. And then it goes into the introduction. So the total intro is 20 seconds. Then we talk about the first mistake that the company's making. Then we talk about the second mistake, and that's it. And the whole video itself is actually 133 seconds, 2.2 minutes long. The total script is very, very short. Okay, so it shouldn't be long. Now, let's talk about how you can actually build this script and build a really good script for your Trojan Horse video. First of all, we already talked about this. Once you're done your rough draft, read it out loud. Okay, so let's go through this. How do you fill in the yellow parts of the script and make it your own? Well, the intro is really easy. The mistakes you choose will be the hardest part of building this script. So again, the reason why this lead gen system is so scalable is because we're choosing mistakes that are universal, and they're almost always seen in 90% of the prospects that we find. And these mistakes should cause discomfort and pain in the viewer's heart, the prospect, and it should make him or her feel as if they need your help. Your job in this video, in building this script, is not to solve their problem. That's very important you remember this. It's not to solve their problem. Your job in making this video is simply to make them aware of the problems that they're making. So your job is not to solve the problem or show them how to fix the mistakes. That's not what you want to do. You want to literally just make them aware of these problems. So this video, in a sense, kind of a little bit of analogy here, this thing is a migraine creator. Like, this thing is a migraine video. It literally causes an extreme amount of pain in the prospect's brain because they're like, holy shit, I didn't realize I was losing all this money or all this time or whatever. I can't believe I'm making these mistakes. I need to figure out how to fix this. I don't know how to fix this. I need to book the call, right? The book a call button is the instant Advil, right? It's like they book this call and they feel better. Their heart feels good. The anxiety goes away. the migraine goes away. And so this is the analogy that I'm using, because if you go out and you solve their problem, which so many people make this mistake, I've seen so many lead gen systems that would be great, but they're shoving Advil down prospects' throat, and so they don't get any calls booked, and then they wonder why. Well, it's because they're just selling Advil. They're not just they're just giving Advil away for free. So you don't want to do that. You want to just cause a ton of pain, and then the book a call button is the Advil solution. And moving forward, like I said, making them aware of the problem but not giving them a solution is what will create massive agitation in the prospect's hearts and mind. The more serious or severe the mistakes that you choose to make your prospect aware of, the better, right? More pain equals higher call booking rates, higher conversions. And before you write out the script, it's a good idea to brainstorm, some of the most costly mistakes that ideal prospects would be making in your niche. So list some of the ideas of very common and painful mistakes that most prospects are making. This is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you've been running an agency for quite a while, or you've got at least a few clients or at least a couple clients, you should be able to come up with one or two ideas that are mistakes that your clients are commonly making, that's costing them a lot of money or time or whatever it might be that you're helping them with. And that when they see this, they'd be like, oh, this is painful, right? So second thing, there's some niches. I know there's some people here that might be, watching this webinar, and you can't really find mistakes, but you can find potential opportunities for gain. So there's some people that come to me and they say, Taylor, why don't you just tell them, hey, you're missing out on $100,000 per month, or you could make an extra $100,000 instead of you're losing $100,000. Which one is better? Well, if you look at it from a psychological standpoint, loss is a much more powerful motivator than gain, right? If you think about losing $100, like if somebody takes $100 out of your pocket and they wave it in front of your face and then they run away, you're going to chase after them, and that's going to piss you off, and you're going to be relentless about getting that $100 back. But if somebody comes up to you and they say, hey, if you want to help me out, moving some furniture in my apartment for the afternoon, I could give you $100. You're gonna be like, nah, I'd rather watch Netflix. I don't really want to do that. Motivation for loss is way stronger because it's something you already have and it's being taken away from you. Motivation for gain is very low because it's like you never really had it in the first place. It doesn't matter whether you get it or not. So in my opinion, loss is a much more powerful motivator than just saying potential gain. But if all you can do is talk about potential gain, that's fine. But mistakes are a much more powerful thing to use in the script. So which of these mistakes that you listed above are the top two most painful, and why? So you want to take the top most painful mistakes, the top two, and explain why you think they're the most painful. And then once you have these mistakes, you can actually start changing the yellow highlighted words in this script and building the script. So you can talk about mistake number one. This one is huge, and we've seen it cost some of our clients XYZ. So you want to immediately start off by introducing the mistake as how much it's costing some of the clients that you work with, right? Again, I don't talk about in this entire script, I don't even mention our services. I don't mention a cost for our services. I don't mention, hey, I would love for you to work with us, or like, this is how much our services cost. We don't talk about any of that. This whole thing is just value, but I'm subtly kind of mentioning like, hey, we work with some of our clients and this costs them $200,000 per year. So I'm subtly mentioning that, yeah, we have an agency. Yeah, we work with people just like you, and I'm kind of like hinting at the idea that we want to work with you type thing. But I'm not saying I really would like to work with you. Here's how much our services are, book a call, please. No, it's just like, here's the mistakes. It's losing you a ton of money. We have clients who we've solved these mistakes for. If you want some of our help with trying to solve these mistakes, feel free to book a call. It's genuine, it's honest, there's no hard selling, nothing like that. All right? And that's why it works so damn well. And so next up, so let's come back into the sheet and the setup. So the step 2 is you want to record your value video script using Camtasia. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go into this in this webinar, and honestly, it would bore you to death. It's technical. It's kind of like technical stuff, and it's not really the most fun stuff to watch. That being said, it's also very important, and it is kind of confusing to make one of these Trojan Horse videos. So it's a crucial component, but unfortunately, we won't be able to cover it in this webinar because it would take an extra 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and we don't have the time to cover that. I want to cover the most important pieces with you. Although this is important, it's not as vital as understanding how to write the script, because you can figure this out on your own better than writing a script. And then you want to copy paste your call, discovery call. Yeah, so this is for stuff for people in Leadgen Enlightened. Don't worry about this. That was the main thing I wanted to show you was how to write the script, because that's essentially the essence, the core of the video that you want to be making. So moving forward, then what we want to talk about, let's see what the next slide is. Yeah, so crafting your 1.0 first contact message. So now we're about to get into what is the script that you use to contact the prospects, to contact the companies. You know, how do you actually message them when you send that first cold email, when you send that first message via LinkedIn, via Facebook, via the website, like emails that you might find, the various emails you might find on their site. So let's dive into that. And to talk about that, before we get into that in depth, I just want to, talk about this brief kind of scenario here. So here we have your marketing message, which is in the middle, right? This thing is in between your target market and your niche and you and your offer, right? Your marketing message is the thing that bridges the gap between your market and you and your offer and your service, right? But unfortunately, 99% of agencies have no signal. Their marketing message sucks. It's like a cold email, it's a cold call, it's cold messaging on social, it's advertising on Facebook with no unique mechanisms, it's advertising that with ads that don't really give value, it's sending messages that are not disruptive, and this provides no signal. And when there's no signal in your marketing message, it means there's no signal between your target market and your niche and your offer, and that means you don't get many clients, if any at all. And this is why most agency owners are dependent on referrals, because they don't have a lead gen system that resonates and connects between the marketing message, the niche, and the offer. Now, this is what Trojan Horse marketing looks like. It's a clear connection. The marketing, the video connects and resonates very deeply. It's a perfect connection. And it resonates instantly due to how personalized it is. It leads with insight. It gives a ton of value that's actually painful value. It offers help. It doesn't even talk about the service or the fee. And it's extremely genuine, right? I've always really liked the idea of genuine marketing, where you're more of a value-oriented approach than trying to be like a master persuader. I never liked the idea of people that studied relentlessly psychology and they didn't really think much about providing value in their marketing. I like just doing marketing that has a ton of value, that's customized, personalized, genuine. There's no huge sales pitch. It's just like, hey, here's a ton of value. If you want some help, you can book a call with us. We can talk about some help, right? This is what you're doing in business at the end of the day. You're helping people and you're helping people. That's it. And it's good when you use marketing that speaks and feels like help, right? So moving forward, let's break down the perfect contact message. So number one, give context through a social trigger, referral, or other means. That's important. Number two, you want to lead with genuine insight that you found doing some research on the company or the person that you're contacting. Then you want to state how much the mistakes are costing them or the opportunity to be gained if you can't talk about mistakes. Then you want to say that you want a 10-minute phone call and you want to explain why the phone call is important. Then you want to provide the 2 to 3 minute value video, which is the Trojan Horse video, and then you want to give them a call booking link. So let's see what this looks like in an actual email that I've sent personally. And before I actually cover this, let me just add in a little square here, and let's hide most of this, and let's go through this one by one. Hopefully you're liking the webinar so far. It's pure value and a lot of how-to. I know your brain might be overloading with information, but if you like the webinar so far, put some ones in the chat box just to make sure nobody's falling asleep. We still got a lot of people on the webinar, which is really good. And cool, lots of ones pouring in, which is great. I appreciate the love. This is one of the best webinars I've ever seen. Love it. You guys are awesome. I'm pumped that you like the webinar so far. So let's get into this. Let's get into the script that you're going to use to contact the companies, to contact the prospects when you've finished the video, you got the video ready. Now you need to build a script. Well, here's the first contact by email. And when I say first contact, I mean this is when you send that first outreach message to a company or to a person with the lead gen system. So first of all, it starts like this. Hey, Michael, pretty simple. I'm reaching out because I work with a lot of 7 to 8 figure brands on Amazon, and I did some research on your company. All right. So in the first sentence, in the first 5 words, we're explaining why we're reaching out. All right. If you've ever received a cold email, from somebody, there's nothing worse than like reading a long ass cold email that's not customized and they don't even explain why they're reaching out. But I like to send an email and it explains in the first 5 words why I'm reaching out. Hey, I'm reaching out because, right? This instantly turns turns off alarms in the prospect's mind. Like the bullshit, scam, spam, radar detector goes off because I immediately say, hey, I'm reaching out because blah, blah, blah. And it's a huge open loop because I say, I did some research on your company. That means it's more personalized than any other typical lead gen message that you'll receive. And let's move on to the next word or the next sentence. The next sentence is the value hook. So this is where we're saying, hey, I saw you guys were making a few mistakes with your advertising that's costing you over 6 figures per year in lost sales. So this is value, and it's a giant hook because it's a very bold statement. To go out there and say you're losing over $100,000 per year in lost sales, that's a bold statement. And anybody who reads that is likely going to be like, I don't know, I doubt that, but I'll read on to find out if what you're saying has any truth in it, right? So they're going to read on to figure out, what else you're talking about because it's a hook, right? It's like the end of an episode on Netflix or a TV series when this giant big thing happens at the end of the episode, and then you're like, oh my God, I have to see the next episode. This is like this is what's happening. Copywriting is just line after line, hook after hook, open loop after open loop, and that's pretty much what copy is, and that's the method I've approached here, or I've taken here. And then what we do is we talk about why it's important we do a call. So I'm very bold with this email. Right away, I say, I'd like 15 minutes to meet, and I think it's important because all of our clients have seen a 10 to 120K per month increase in sales after fixing these mistakes. Again, I'm still connecting it to the mistakes, right? I'm not just saying book a call with me. I'm just saying, hey, I think we should book a call because XYZ. Again, I'm always explaining why I think it's important that we do things. I'm explaining why I'm reaching out. I'm explaining why we should book a 15-minute call. And then I say, I made you this short video to share some research, to share some of the research with you, and my calendar is below. All right, so this is the value video, right? The Trojan Horse marketing video that I actually showed you is this exact video. There's a giant play button. And think about this video. This is very powerful. Like the video itself, the thumbnail on the video, this is the main eye candy attractor that really gets people's attention, gets them to read the whole email. Imagine you open an email, all right, and the email, the first thing you're going to see is the image because humans process images about 10,000 times faster than they do words. And so you see the image, and the image shows you your website or your top selling product in your company, and there's a play button, and there's a picture of a little dude in the bottom right corner, and it's just like, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this, right? This is unconventional quality marketing because people don't see stuff like this that often, right? And they can tell this is a very customized email right away. In 1 second after opening the email, they know somebody took the time to make them a damn video. This is likely going to be pretty interesting. I've never seen something like this, right? So then the personalized video, it's a specific video giving value and causing pain. This increases the odds of getting the call. I've tested this email strategy without the video. I'm telling you, it pretty much sucks. It doesn't perform that well. You can still get like a way higher call booking rate than a typical cold email approach, but it's nowhere near what it is if you include the video. So just include the video, it's going to be 10 times better. After the video, it's pretty simple. I just provide information, the call booking link, and then below that is I forget what this is called. But like the footer with your information below, the congruent info about our agency and the link to our website. So that way, once they watch the video, if they're like, I want to know what these people actually do and what their website is, because in the video, I don't even mention the name of our agency. I don't mention our website. I don't mention any of that crap because it's not necessary. I just focus 100% on painful value and then leave them to be curious and want more, right? That's what's so amazing about the video. So oftentimes people will click the link, they'll check out the website, they'll look around, and then they'll book the call. And this is why all these little pieces in this script are very important, and I've specifically pointed them out and explained them to you here. Cool. So now that we've gone through the first contact by email, it also changes by social media, because on Facebook and LinkedIn, you can't embed a beautiful looking image like that. And the structure, the format of the message that you send, is very different on social media than it is via email. So I changed the script a little bit. This is the script I use if I reach out via Facebook or LinkedIn to the prospect that I'm trying to get a hold of. And I just say, hey, John, reached out because I work with a lot of 7-8 figure brands on Amazon. Same thing as the last message. I saw you guys were making a few mistakes. And then I just say, so I made you a short video to share some of my research. I think it's worth it for us to do a 10-minute call. So it's very short, it's very succinct. Then there's the link to the video. So it's pretty straightforward. It's about 3 sentences long. And honestly, if you put this in Facebook chat, it looks like a pretty long message already. That's why I don't have any more words in here, because when you send a message over Facebook, 20 words looks like the longest message ever, but on email, it doesn't really look that big. That's why I try to condense the message over social media. And then this isn't really that important, but if you really want to take this Trojan Horse marketing to the next level, what you would do is you'd hire an SDR. If you don't know what an SDR is, it's just a sales development rep. And what that is that's somebody who focuses on getting calls booked in your calendar. They don't actually close any sales for you. What they do is they push prospects through the pipeline to get them on a qualified call with you. And so I hired an SDR. Her name was Emma. And she just basically called companies and used this script. She would call companies that we had already contacted via email and social media, and they had already opened the email, or they had seen the message somewhere or watched the video, but they never booked a call. She would contact these companies, call them up with this script. And oftentimes what would happen is the person had seen the video, or the company or whoever that she was talking to had seen the video, and they just didn't book the call, and it would be very easy for her to get a call booked. Well, it's not very easy, but it's a lot easier than a cold call. And I just want to make this clear. This is not a cold call, all right? I don't subscribe to doing cold calls. You could do a cold call with this method. It would probably perform better than a typical cold call, but this is a warm call. What is a warm call? Well, a warm call is when somebody has already seen your messages, they've read your messages, they've watched a video of you before, their awareness of you is not blank. They know who you are, and you are in their mental space. You're in their mind already. And if you are already in someone's mind and you give them a call, that is not a cold call, because they know who you are. And if you call them and you say, hey, I'm reaching out because I saw your profile, blah, 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 and you pretty much say the exact same script that they read in the email, they're going to be like, yeah, I saw the video. We just didn't really book a call. Or they'll be like, yeah, I saw the video, but we're working with an agency. We sent the video to our agency. Appreciate the video, but we're not going to work with you right now. And you'll get one of those two responses, like, we're already with an agency, or, yeah, I just didn't have time to book the call. Yeah, I'd love to book a call and talk with Taylor who made the video, or whatever, right? And that's typically what'll happen. And so you can use the script if you want. I provided it here. It's important that you don't stutter and you have a very confident tone when you use the script. It's also best if you talk a bit faster than usual, because when you warm call someone and they know who you are, they're still like, who the hell is this? Because they don't have your number in your phone or anything like that. Next, let's keep rolling. Yeah, so this is kind of similar to what we talked about before. So marketing with little to no signal. I mean, this is pretty much what 99% of agency owners and service providers are doing, and they're all doing the same crap. They all look like the same. They're all copying each other. They're all just following each other relentlessly, and they move around like a giant flock of birds, and they all do the same damn thing, and they fly together. And it looks like this: cold email, cold calling, cold messaging on social, like I said earlier, advertising without any unique mechanisms, ads without providing value, using a lead gen system that doesn't really give any value, trying to make something based out of mastering persuasion and not providing any value, non-disruptive messages, etc. Versus Trojan Horse marketing, which you are an orange amongst apples in Trojan Horse marketing. You will stand out like ridiculous compared to the rest of people, because when you send an email with a video that has a customized, very good thumbnail with your face on it and the company's info or product or website or whatever, you totally stand out from the rest of the marketplace, and it resonates instantly due to how personalized it is. It leads with insight. It gives painful value. It offers help. It doesn't even talk about your service or fee or what your agency is and what they do, other than like typical, description. And then it's extremely genuine and very disruptive. Again, I love very ethical, value-based marketing. It's kind of the thing that I've mastered over the years that's allowed me to scale my agency very quickly. And the second venture that I launched as well, from 0 to 60K per month, it's because we do things like this like Trojan Horse Marketing. And again, this Trojan Horse Marketing stuff, it's one little piece of Leadgen Enlightened and everything we teach in Leadgen Enlightened. With that being said, it's a very important piece, but it's a small piece. And still, it's so important and it resonates at a very high level. So you will actually have marketing signal and you'll be totally different than the rest of the marketplace. And now let's talk about pattern disrupting with combo hits. This is legendary. I'm really excited to share this with you. But before I do, let me just make sure that everybody can still hear me. If you can, I know this might be annoying that I constantly stop this thing, but honestly, I'm always worried like shitless that my audio is just gonna like go out. So if you can, just put some ones in the chat, that would be legendary. And we'll continue. Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, we actually retained a lot of people. We still got a lot of people on, which is good. Similar to how much we had on when we started. But yeah, awesome. All right, so it looks like there's. All right, yeah, that's not an error. So it looks like everybody's good. Let's keep rolling. Glad the audio is working. And let's talk about pattern disrupting with combo hits. So what is the pattern? The pattern is simply our habits that our brains have built throughout our lifetime to conserve energy. It's like the subconscious mind, right? The pattern is your autopilot brain. It's like when you brush your teeth in the morning and when you brush your teeth at night. You know, you can do this thing on autopilot. You don't even have to think about it. You just take the toothbrush, you put the toothpaste on, you brush your teeth, right? And when it comes to building a successful lead gen system, your message needs to disrupt the pattern of that target prospect and hold their attention long enough to feel the urge to book a call with you. So people are busy. They have freaking podcasts going on in their ears. They're on Facebook. They're watching YouTube. They're working at the same time. They're eating. They're going to the bathroom. Like, dude, the amount of like distraction that's going on in the world today is ridiculous. The average like attention span is that less than a goldfish. You've probably heard that, which is like less than 7 seconds. It's ridiculous. So how do you get people's attention? How do you disrupt their daily day and their daily routine and then hold their attention for like 2 minutes? It's harder than you think, and be able to get them to book a call with you. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this particular section of the webinar. So simply, one isn't enough. So simply sending one message via one channel like Facebook or email, if you just contact one person through email, one channel, it's not enough to break through the pattern. Everyone is sending just one message, and our brains have come to recognize this. So whenever we see some spammy looking email or spammy looking Facebook message, like a templated message that gets sent to you over LinkedIn or Facebook or email, or a cold call, you just immediately delete it, you disregard it, you ignore it, you don't even pay attention to it, you'll never hear or talk to the person again. And if they follow up, you'll just completely disregard it. But that's why combo hits are so effective, and it's very simple. What it is you're sending the same exact message. This is very important. Let me say that again. You're sending the same exact message, the same templated message through 3+ different channels to as many people as possible within the company or organization that you're contacting, or the person that you're contacting. And that's what a combo hit is. So this is what a typical lead gen system looks like. The typical lead gen system will send a message via email. The prospect will open the email, they won't respond, and then the agency owner will follow up. The prospect opens, they won't respond, and it's this terrible loop of death that helps nobody. Everybody, the prospect's annoyed. He'll tell you to F off, or he'll tell you to stop emailing him. And I've had this before. I've had people literally swear at me like, "Don't send me these cold emails," blah blah blah. And this is why I was like, whoa, I'm not gonna do this cold calling crap anymore, or this cold emailing. It's ridiculous. I want to do value-based marketing. And this is like a cold lead gen system. Now this is a new modern lead gen system with using the value-based marketing that we've been talking about throughout this whole webinar, Trojan Horse Marketing, which is a value-based approach. And what it is you do a combo hit first contact message sent through 3 primary channels, 3 or more. Typically, you have your standard 5 channels that you can leave a message with and get in touch with somebody. So that's a prospect on the right. These are the channels on the left. And you can send your templated Trojan Horse Marketing, your Trojan Horse video message through LinkedIn. You can send it through Facebook. You can send it through email. You could send it through a phone call, which is kind of like the last one you should do. And I don't even recommend it to start. I never used it for the first year that we ran this system. I would recommend just using LinkedIn, Facebook, and email. That's good enough. And you send that same message through those 3 different channels, and you can hit that person like 3 times in like 5 minutes, and that'll really disrupt their day. And let me even take it further than this. What you can do, and I've done this before, you can send that same message to not only one person, but multiple people within the company, within the organization, and this causes chaos. This will disrupt the entire company's day, and the whole company will be talking about you, and you might even get a CEO or a CMO that calls you because it's so disruptive. And here's the truth. Contacting just one person with this method will cause a serious pattern disruption, and it'll bring you results. Like, you don't need to contact multiple people within the company to get results. When I started this method, I simply used one channel and I got results. But when I increased it to like 3 channels and I sent that same message via as many channels as possible, LinkedIn, Facebook, email, I got way better results, and I just noticed it was a very pattern disrupting method. So that's why we start using it. It's called combo hits. There's actually a book on it. This isn't by any means a method that I created. I actually read about it and just applied it to Trojan Horse Marketing. It worked phenomenally. And then contacting 3 or more people in the same company, this causes a serious pattern disruption, and it can result in a high-level executive or a CEO calling you. Funny story, real quick. We won't veer off topic for too long, but I did this pattern disruption to an 8-figure company, and what I did is I actually told all the high-level executives to send a message to the CEO for me, because I sent him a really important message, and I would like to make sure that he sees it. And I sent this message to like 5 or 6 executives, and then the CEO got so pissed off and so annoyed that he told the CMO to call me, because so many of his employees and his executives were sending him messages over LinkedIn, and it was all about this one video that some random dude, me, sent him. And then the CMO called me, and I was like, he was like, "Hey, is this Taylor?" And I was like, "Yep, who's this?" And he was like, "Hey, my name's blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to ask if you could stop messaging people in our company to message the CEO. He's pretty annoyed with it. But that being said, I watched your video. It looks pretty good. And I'm interested to hear about how you guys could potentially help us." And that went on to us doing a proposal for them and going through the whole sales cycle. Unfortunately, we didn't work with them. It was a huge company worth about $10K per month, which would have been an amazing contract, but it didn't go through due to legality issues. But regardless, the point is that this system is so disruptive that you'll have a CMO call you, and I've experienced that before, so it's not surprising if it happens to you. And here's the next thing. Here's the next dimension of this. Multiple combo hits can be required to book the call. So our system is that we send 4 combo hits over the course of 10 days to one prospect or multiple prospects within the company that we're trying to work with, or the client that we're trying to acquire. And we won't go any further than this. Now, there's a lot of people who talk about follow-up. The money's in the follow up relentlessly, follow up hundreds of times, go to 30 or 40 follow-ups. Dude, I don't subscribe to that. I've done that before, and honestly, this is way more effective. And you don't want to be following up until you die. It's kind of ridiculous. I found that typically, if somebody doesn't respond after the 4th combo hit, just leave them. Don't waste your time or energy. Leave them in the dust. They'll probably get back to you in the future. Honestly, most of them do. Or they'll send you a message like, "Hey, please stop emailing me. We're already working with an agency." That's fine too. I like that. If they send me that email, that's great. I can scratch them off the list. But this is what we do: is we'll send 4 combo hits, and we won't follow up any more than this. And like I said, or no, I actually didn't mention this. You only stop the combo hits if you get a definite no or a call booked, right? So these are the only 2 scenarios in which I would stop sending. I would stop the sequence that goes on here. And once you get in the groove with this, it really only takes 45 minutes to do this, right? To contact one prospect via 3 channels takes about 4 to 5 minutes. 3 touch points for one person, 4 to 5 minutes. Once you get good at it. Honestly, I can get it down to like 2 or 3 minutes, but that's like if you've done this for a lot and you've sent out hundreds of these videos. And note, like I said earlier, you don't need to use the phone. I actually don't recommend you use the phone. That's only if you're like you got this system dialed in with email, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and then you want to take it to the next level. Then you can hire an SDR. If you're consistently getting 3 to 5 clients per month from this system alone, great. You want to take it to the next level, hire an SDR. And now let's talk about tracking. So this is actually really important. And there's a lot of pipeline softwares out there that help you track prospects in a pipeline. Oh yeah, before we talk about the actual tracking, let me talk about this. So when our virtual assistants are doing the prospecting and they're looking for potential employees, they'll use this prospecting sheet. It's really simple. So what they'll do is they'll do the typical prospecting method they do, and they'll put in all the company information into this sheet. This allows them to organize all the information they need to make the Trojan Horse video, which is really important. And once they've found that all the emails that they could possibly find, the phone number, which would be for the SDR, Facebook, if they can contact the business owners through Facebook or the page that they have on Facebook. These are all of the founders on LinkedIn. They found the LinkedIn profiles of all the high-level executives or the CEOs or the co-founders. And then also the links to the mistakes that the company is making, the proof of the mistakes. And this organization, this system allows the virtual assistants to find all the prospects, so they can find like 5 or 6 prospects for the day. And then what they can do is they can easily record the videos and contact the companies, because this has all the information needed to do that very efficiently. Once they've found a company and they've got all the information, then what they'll do is they'll Control X and they'll Control V that into the next stage, which is the video is done. Once the video is done, then they'll highlight it gray and they'll move on to the next step, and they'll basically actually copy paste this once the video is done into this sheet once they've contacted them. So there's 3 stages. First, they find the company, which is this red stage. Then they make the video, which is simple. Then they put them in here. Then they have to contact the company. Once they've contacted the company, then they'll paste the information in there. All right. And so let's talk about the tracking sheet. Now, I know there's a lot of softwares like Pipedrive, Zoho, CRM, and endless amounts of software tools that you could use for a sales pipeline. I don't use any of it. Honestly, I've pretty much hit paralysis by overanalysis using any sales pipeline software. So I just built this simple, easy to use Google Sheet. And this is what it looks like. So they have all the information in here. The total amount of combo hits sent represents the check marks. So once they contact the company first, what they'll do is when they send that first initial outreach message, they'll put 1 combo hit, which is just 1 check mark. There's an automated sequence of follow-ups that need to be made, and it automatically tells the person. So if you make the first contact on, let's say, like August 2019 on the 1st, then these dates will change, and it'll tell the virtual assistants when they need to send the next follow-up message. So then the next follow-up message will be on the 4th, the next will be the 7th, the next will be the 10th, and then they don't go any further than this, right? Like I said, we only send 4 messages, 3 follow-ups, one initial message, that's it, nothing more than that. And once they've sent let's say that they send the second follow-up, like if there's no response on the first contact, then they'll send the second follow-up message, and then what they'll do is once they've sent that, they'll highlight that green. They'll add a second check mark, and they'll highlight it green. And let's just hypothetically say that this particular prospect does end up booking a call. Well, then what they would do is if they book a call, the virtual assistant would move this prospect into the call booked section. And that way we know how many people have booked a call. And then once it gets moved here, once the call is actually done, we'll label them as deal lost or deal won. So it's a very simple sequence. It's contacted, call booked, and deal lost or deal won. If we contact somebody with 4 combo hits and they never respond, we'll just mark it red or black. I don't know what the color is that we use, but that's how we know if we've completely exhausted all efforts and they didn't respond. And then if we win the deal, we'll basically, what we'll do is we'll just put it in here. We'll copy, paste, Control, exit. So then we'll put it in here, and then we'll write the reason why we won the deal. Like, hey, the person really liked the video, and we'll explain the reason based on the sales call that was done. Very simple. So this is the tracking sheet that we use. Very thorough, it's very simple. Now moving forward, let's talk about what did we cover? Cool. So we're actually nearing towards the end of this webinar, but let's keep rolling through this. What did we cover in this webinar? Let's actually recap all the information that we just went over, just to refresh our brains on it. So we covered some of the most important parts of running the Trojan Horse marketing machine. I mean, this thing really is a machine, and there's a lot of different pieces involved to get it to work and to get it to produce like 3 to 5 consistent sales calls every single 7 to 10 days, so you can sign at least 3 to 5 clients per month from it, and you can even go higher than that, depending on how many videos you're sending out. But here's what we covered in this training. We covered understanding THM, using the THM calculator, DNA of an ideal prospect, building a Trojan horse, crafting your 1.0 first contact message, pattern disrupting with combo hits, and tracking sent horses using that tracking sheet that we just went over. And here's what's missing. I mean, proven sales script when a prospect books a call. So what's the sales script that you should use when a prospect actually books a call? The technical details on how to actually record this video and make it in Camtasia and the software, and teach the VA how to do it, crafting a unique mechanism to make sure the video actually converts better, process for hiring and training a virtual assistant to run this entire system for you, the process for hiring an SDR if you want to make the system convert better, building a VSL funnel to further heat up the prospect if they bounce to your site, having a well-optimized site which increases the call booking rate of the system. I mean, if you have a good website, this thing works a lot better because they will be looking at your website when you reach out to them and they watch the video, and then identifying a good niche to use the system on. I mean, these things, if I was to talk about all these things, it would be like an extra 6 or 7 hours. It'd be insane. And we can't cover that, obviously, all in this one webinar. So if you really, these missing pieces are essential, or else the system will suffer greatly or even just completely fail. But if you already have all of these pieces, then great, you got it, and you can get started tomorrow. And I recommend you send 100 of these videos, and you should see that you get between 5 to 10 qualified sales calls booked. Again, that kid that I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this webinar, Josef Newton, within 6 days signed his first client after sending 50 Trojan horses to 50 prospects. And that's all it took, right? It was just 50 videos and he signed his first client, 16 years old, and in a completely new niche. So this thing has the power to change your life if you just take action and actually do it. And that's why I've taken the time to make this webinar and make it so thorough for you. And if you don't have all those pieces of the machine figured out, well, then you basically have, 2 options at this point. One, you can try to scale your agency on your own and waste a lot of time and money like I did. I've spent close to now $100,000 on courses, but in the screenshot, which is a little bit outdated, I spent $73,337 on courses, and I've wasted years trying to figure out how to build a lead gen system. And really, I've figured it out through trial and error. The courses that I bought helped when I was starting out, but really to scale the agency from like $20,000 a month to $50,000 a month and even higher to $100,000 per month, they didn't really help out that much. And so that was all trial and error. And you can go down that route if you want, but it's expensive, it's exhausting, and it's really time consuming. And the second option is you can learn from someone who's already built a successful lead gen system. They've built a successful agency. They've helped other agency owners or service providers actually implement the system and get results. And that's a legendary, much better option. Like, I wish I would have had somebody like myself who could have mentored me years ago and walked me through an exact how-to system and building it and automating the agency. I mean, that's the second half of Leadgen Enlightened, is all about agency automation. I work 30 minutes a week on my agency. It's growing without me. Our account executive is doing sales calls and signing clients without me, doing all the client calls, handling all the deliverables, managing the team. I mean, that is a truly an amazing feeling. And it's something that I learned through trial and error. Nobody taught me how to do it. It was very difficult and painful. And that's why it's in Leadgen Enlightened, because it's part of the process for getting to $50,000, $100,000 per month is automation and making sure you don't get trapped. And so if you're interested in taking option 2, here's what a perfect fit would look like for me. You're doing between $1,000 to $50,000 per month. I mean, ideally you have at least one client. You need to have at least one client, and you should be doing between $1,000 to $50K per month. If you're doing $70,000 or $80,000 per month and you just want help with maybe automating your agency or taking your lead gen system to the next level, hey, that's great. But from my experience of working with agencies between $1,000 to $50K, there's huge potential for them to scale very quickly. But if you're doing $70,000, $80,000, $100K per month, that's fine. You could still get better results. 2, you actually want to scale your agency or service past $100K per month. Believe it or not, I talk to people for whatever reason, and they don't want to scale their agency any further because they're happy with where they are and they're content and they like spending time with their family. That's fine. If that's you, this is not a good fit. If you don't want to scale your agency far, well then, that's not a good fit, because my goal in Leadgen Enlightened is to get everybody past $100K per month and do it properly so that they don't get trapped and burned out and maximum capacity, and they don't become a slave to their agency. And number 3 is you're willing to put in, the damn work to do it. You got to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, nothing's going to work. It's that simple. Number 4, you're not afraid to use, different lead gen systems that 99% of the market is not using. As you already know from probably watching this webinar alone, you've probably never seen anything like this. I'd never seen anything like this. That's why it's not in any of the courses that I purchased and spent $100,000 on courses almost, and it wasn't on any of them. And all lead gen systems that I'm talking about in Leadgen and Leadgen are very unconventional that most people are not doing. So you can't be afraid to use these unconventional strategies. And so here's what the average time frame for getting results looks like when you're working with me. Once you've actually started using the client lead gen system, in the first month, you should sign 1 to 3 clients bare minimum. Second month, 2 to 6, third month, 3 to 8, fourth month, 4 to 10. And by the fourth month, by the 120th day, you should be averaging 5 to 10 clients per month. Honestly, what I've found in Leadgen and Leadgen is that most people make it to month 2 and they sign 2 to 6 clients and their whole agency breaks because they have no form of automation. They have no actual system for hiring employees and they have no actual structure and the agency can't run without them. So then the whole thing breaks and they're like, oh my God, I have this amazing lead gen system, but I have no idea how to actually manage all these clients now. That's why I created the second half of Leadgen and Leadgen, which was about agency automation, which we didn't even talk about in this webinar, but the second half of it is all about agency automation, hiring a team, building systems, building software, all that good stuff, agency framework, so that you can work 30 minutes a week if you actually want to, similar to what I'm doing in my agency now. And so, yeah, so far everyone, actually this is not true because we've signed, a lot of people have joined Leadgen and Leadgen recently, but not only months ago I could have said this, which is so far everyone but one person has signed multiple clients in the first 30 to 45 days from launching the Leadgen and Leadgen system. But now there's a lot of people who are just starting out, so I can't really say this, but if you were to exclude those people, then yes, this is true. And as I showed you earlier, these are all people that are actually in Leadgen and Leadgen. These are real people. You can feel free to try to find them on Facebook, message them if you don't believe me. Vadim has literally, this dude started out, he was charging like $350 per client. Now he's charging over $1,000 per client for all his clients. And he has a lead gen system that can get him like 5 to 10 qualified sales calls per week. You can see his calendar there booked up. And that was from literally just using this system for like 2 weeks. And he broke his agency, and then he started working on agency automation, which is really cool. Oliver English, super noob, signed client. Howard Lee, 10K per month worth of contracts waiting to be signed. I already showed you this slide. And Josef Newton, again, this is the kid who watched this webinar and signed clients. Again, this is just to motivate you that, hey, you can actually sign clients from what you learned in this webinar. And yeah, so what I'm offering is pretty much just a one-on-one phone call, just you and me, where we can talk in depth about your business, so I can get a deeper understanding of your agency and whether or not I really think I can help you out or not. Like I said, I can't help everyone. I know I can't help everyone. So that's why I do these phone calls. I don't just let people get in Leadgen and Leadgen at wherever they are. That's not what I do. And so I'm looking for win-wins. I can't help everyone. I actually turn down quite a few people every week. And this is where you can book the call. So you can just go to your browser, type in taylorbentrue.com /SS. So yeah, it's just taylorbentrue.com /SS, and you'll get taken to a page that looks like this, where you can basically just schedule a call with me and we can walk through your agency and see if Leadgen and Leadgen is something you want to take seriously. If you want to walk away from this webinar and use this system and sign clients, great. That's the purpose of this webinar, is to allow you to walk away and sign clients. But if you really want to dive in deep, then get all the instructional how-to processes and all the systems, and not just one little piece, but you want the entire system for your agency and the entire framework, well, then I recommend booking a call and I can go through your agency and your current situation, how your lead gen system's working right now, what the services that you're providing. It's a really important call. I mean, it's probably one of those valuable calls you'll do, and everybody who's done the call walks away with it with a ton of value regardless of what their decision is. So yeah, if you want to book the call, feel free to book it. And if you have any questions, usually I do Q&A at the end of these calls, at the end of webinars, but I'm not going to be doing it for this one. But if you have questions, feel free to just book a call with me and I can answer your questions on the call. The reason I don't do it is because if I do Q&A, like it would go for hours. Like right now we got a lot of people in the webinar and the Q&A would be nuts. I mean, I've already seen, just from going through the webinar, like right now, just briefly watching the chat box, there's tons of questions coming in. And honestly, it's better if you just book the call so that we can go over the questions in depth. Otherwise, I hope you found a ton of value in this webinar, and I appreciate you coming on and learning how you can grow your agency and take it to the next level. So thanks for watching this. I hope to see you on the phone and speak to you personally, but if not, no worries, and have an amazing day. Again, that's the link where you can go. Ciao.